Welcome to Barry Charles Harness, your one-stop shop for everything harness racing. How are you going out there, guys and gals? Hope you're ready for a great weekend of racing. Well, in this episode, I'm going to look at the Interdominion Finals of the Paces and the Trotting, a little bit of news around the traps, and a little bit of looking at some of the features from an angle, etc. Let's get to it right here, right now, at Barry Charles Harness. Yes, obviously, the Interdominion series, I put my hats off to Queensland Racing for getting the great series throughout the very much the cream of the crop got to the top. The only horse that really seemed to struggle on the track was Rock and Roll Dude, didn't handle the bends at all. He's probably the only horse that disappointed throughout the series. Majorly disappointing, but outside of that, it was good to see that the cream rise to the top, and obviously the leap to victory for leap to fame, very good one. No doubt about it, was absolutely outstanding. Yes, obviously one of the big talking points out of the Interdominions is why, when there's no New Zealand runners, why some of the other horses. You just look at the series, if you added horses of the ilk of Akuta, South Assured, Beach Ball from New Zealand, then you add the likes of Honolulu Bay, Act Now, Catch a Wave, Captain Ravishing, it totally changes the series. But one question mark was prize money, that's definitely one thing, but the calendar. Can you fix the calendar? And I've looked at it, each way you try to do it, there's going to be some sort of conflict. There's just too many competitions. So first of all, you got in the winter time, you got the Queensland Harness, the Queensland Racing, the Blacks Are Fake and the likes. Then October, you have the Victoria Cup, New Zealand Cup into November. Then December is the Interdominion. Then you go to February, you look at the Hunter Cup, Ballarat Cup, January, February. So you got that sort of stuff happening. And then you're looking at the Miracle Mile, March. And then you got the Race of Grins, as well as the Nullarbor in April. So you just can't win. You really can't win. So if you move the Interdominion, say, to September, I mean, the horses they're racing are highly unlikely to race in the New Zealand Cup, Victoria Cup, if you keep everything the same. Out of all the combinations, moving New Zealand Cup to October seems the most logical, but with the steep history of New Zealand Cup being on the second day in November, that ain't going to change. That ain't going to change. So I don't really see any way around it. And to be honest, I think most trainers, some trainers like the Interdominion, but the 4 races in 2 weeks doesn't suit most of the breed these days. Like the likes of the Captain Ravishings and the Catcher Waves, those horses probably won't handle it. That's why they're not here. That's why they're racing in other events. Obviously, the prize money, we get it up to $1 million, but I don't see there's going to be much difference. To be honest, with the Interdominion, there's just too many big races. As simple as that. You can't race at them all. I think they're just going to have to accept that. But you still get good horses. They got good horses. You got the 2 horses that won the race and nearly the best in Australia. So you can't really complain. But let's get to the race. Yep, the big race itself. Who's going to be Deliverance? Well, the race started off with the shock of the start. Turn It Up did not hold the lead as expected. He only came out like half-hearted. So obviously Turn It Up wasn't ready for the final. He was unfit, so that's why they didn't push the go button on him. Swayzee didn't get out. I thought Swayzee might have had a chance if Turn It Up was holding up and Swayzee would be able to hold up. But he just has no gate speed, and he basically should be racing in the standing starts because it seems to be his best option. Not that there's many of them. But yeah, to me, it was just absolutely, yeah. So that was the shock of the start. I mean, I'm not surprised. Future Assured and Leap of Fame had to come out. That's what they had to do. But Future Assured, it was the end of his chances. So he eventually got the lead and held for a while. And Leap of Fame was happy to sit there, which I thought was pretty silly. But eventually, Future Assured, who was trained by Grant Dixon a while ago, but yeah, at the end of the day, he was going to get the lead, and he did when Better Eclipse come 3 wide. Swayzee took the short route into 3 deep at the time, and then was 4 deep, so he had to pull out. It was simple as that. It was just It's just a very weird race. I'm not surprised that the Leap to Fame and Future Short that happened, but I thought Swayzee would have given a bit more fight, but at the end of the day it didn't happen. When Better Eclipse came around, he allowed Swayzee out. Once Swayzee was allowed out, the race was pretty much a procession from there. Cameron Hart, if he wanted to win the race, and I think there's question marks whether Swayzee was 100% going into the series at all, proved by some of the performances, he had to go boom, take on Leap of Fame and go boom, this is my race. He didn't, he sat there, and he was always going to be only a place hope from there. As proven every time, whoever leads in these races seems to win most of the time, and Leap to Fame had that, and once he had that and they had already run hard, he just kept on running hard, and he was just too good, sprinting away, winning by 10 lengths. Really, it was just not much of a race in the end. It was a good start, the race started off well, but once they sorted themselves into position, it was a bit of a procession for Leap of Fame. But great to see the salute from Grant Dixon getting the victory. Very good for the Queensland folks out there to get their victory. It was very good. Better Eclipse had his chance, and even if he had the trail, he still would have probably been by 6 metres easy. Leap of Fame was just a class above any horse in this series. Swayzee, probably just the New Zealand Cup was just a bit too much to try and come back for the Interdominion. That was proven from what I've seen. No gate speed is an issue for Swayzee going forward. Spirit of St. Louis did his usual honest run. Norano, he was probably a little bit unlucky, but didn't have the gate speed early to hold out, turn it up, and that was the end of his chances. And to be fair, most of the other horses, Speak the True was running on camera, most of the other horses were just too far back in our class at the same time. And Future Short went badly and turned it up, seemed to not handle the 4 races in the 2 weeks, I believe. Yeah, well, let's get to the trotters side. The trotting, Just Believe. This turned into absolute procession, folks. Just Believe. Can you believe it? Sat Park, Mufasa Metro lead. I thought Just Believe would get the lead eventually, but Queen Elida didn't come out. So Chris Alford drove for a placing instead of trying to win the race. That was the biggest shock to me. That they didn't go out guns blazing early and try and get the lead. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out, because Queen Elida probably still runs in place anyway with the way she'd been racing. But the fact that they just drove the run in place, to me, was very disappointing for the race, because Just Believe was always going to be Mufasa Metro from sitting parked. Even though Mufasa, because sometimes Mufasa Metro, if you put him in the trail, he battles a bit. So they did the right thing by Mufasa Metro, but he was never going to be Just Believe, and that's great to see. It's good to see Best Berman flying home for 4th. From the inside, I wouldn't say flying home, but getting home for 4th. Surf Hour Night, so good to see Grant Forrest. So the best of the Queenslanders was Surf Hour Night, but he had a soft run as well. Had his every opportunity, but wasn't up to it. But yeah, and Plymouth Chubb was very disappointing. But I think the 2 weeks, the 4 races in 2 weeks got to him in the end. He was pedaling up the straight. Obviously, the big news to come out of this is, will Just Believe go to the race of grins? They had to Queen Elida, Muscle Mountain, Bold for Brilliance, and Oscar Bonavina. What a field there be, and we had horses like Mr. Love, possibly. You got Plymouth Chubb, rocking with attitude if another Australian comes. I don't know if they will with Just Believe there. Probably highly unlikely, but that's going to be a great feature race. Or will Just Believe go to Sweden? That is the question mark. Money-wise, he'll go to New Zealand. If he wants the thrill of trying to win in Sweden, he'll go there. So that'll be the question mark over there. It was good to see Gus didn't do much in the final. He was disappointing. I thought he would have come around so well with Fiji. They just sat back. That was the end of their chances in that race, to be honest. But Bravely Kelly back in the winning circle, beating South Coast Island and the likes. And Maximus Meridius and Menangle was very good. And also at Gloucester Park, we saw Labrador going back to his best. Good to see Bolton Tin back in the winning circle, winning by 10 metres. And yes, and Tricky Mickey getting it done in the Golden Nugget was too good for Wonderful to Fly. Well, that is the Barry Charles Harness for this episode. I will be back with a New Zealand version tomorrow. Have a great day out there.